Hello and welcome you to Mohan Sir's classes. In this lecture, we will discuss about economics first chapter, understanding economic activities. Economic activities. People around us do different kinds of activities to fulfill their needs. Some activities involve producing goods like making basket from bamboo, weaving cloth, growing crops in fields, manufacturing cement in factories and so on. So in this paragraph it is says that different kinds of economic activities. People around us do different kinds of activities to fulfill their needs. That means we are living in a society and surrounding us we have seen that people do different kinds of work. For what? To fulfill their needs. That means to maintain their daily life or to survive their life. Some activities involve producing goods like making basket from bamboo, weaving cloth, growing crops in fields, manufacturing cement in factories. So, usually or in our day-to-day life, we have seen that people do various kinds of works. For example, that people making basket from the bamboo. Some people weave cloth, some grow some people they grow crops, or some do the construction work, some do labor work, some work in cement factories for manufacturing, and there are different kinds of works people do around us. What is the reason they do all kinds of activities? That means to fulfill their daily needs. Next paragraph. Some of other kinds of activities provide service to people. For example, shopkeepers sell goods, bus drivers transport people, and barbers give haircut. They do not provide this service free out of a sense of charity. We pay them for the service. Just like we buy goods, we pay money for this service. So in this paragraph it is said that some other kinds of activities provide service to people. That means not only doing work or producing things, but there are some other activities that provide what? Service to peoples. So let's take some of the example. For example, shopkeepers sell goods. So we know that the shopkeepers they sell goods to us. Next, bus driver transport people, and we have seen that bus driver they transport the people from one place to other place. And barber give haircuts, and we know that barber they cuts our hair. So they do not provide this service free out of a sense of charity. That means it is not a charitable work and they do not do all these activities freely. We pay them for this service, and for all these activities we pay them or we pay money to them. Either purchasing a goods from the shopkeeper we pay money, or if you are traveling by a bus we pay money to the bus driver or conductor, or if the barber cuts our hair we pay money to the barber. Just like we pay goods we pay money for this service. That means for purchasing goods as we pay money, seems like that for all this service also we pay money to the service provider. Next paragraph. Both kinds of activities, producing goods and provide service, are called economic activities. Listen, both kinds of service. What are the both kinds of service? That means producing goods and providing service. So these both are called what? Economic activities. Understood? Both kinds of activities, that means producing goods and providing service, are called what? Economic activities. Most economic activities are active in which money is exchanged. So there are different kinds of economic activities in which money is exchanged. For all the economic activities, we use money for exchanging. Example, whatever we purchase or buy, we give money, and in exchange they gives us goods. Goods and service are part of the production process. That means both the goods and service. These goods and service are what? Part of the production process. good and service are part of the production process. We pay money to buy them. So whatever we want, after the production process, the final product, we pay money and we buy them and we purchase them. However, there are some economic activities where production of goods and service take place but they are not exchanged for money. There are different kinds of economic activities. Productions of goods and service take place but they are not exchanged for money. That means there are different kinds of activities or economic activities which has the production process and the services are there. Even then we don't exchange them for money. We will study this in the last section of the chapter. That means this chapter's last section we will study that which are the things though they take production process and service process, even then we don't exchange them for money. That one we will study in the last section of this chapter. Study the economic activities listed in the below. So these are the some of the economic activities which take place surrounding us. First one, you see that farmers growing and selling crops. We know that farmer they grow and sell the crops. Second, making and selling clay pots. We know that potters they make the clay pots and they sold it. Next, traders purchasing manufactured goods and selling them in the market. That means traders what happen, they are purchasing the raw material, they are manufacturing the goods and after that they are selling those goods in the market. Fourth, teachers teaching children in school. Even the teacher they teach children in the school. Next, setting up a shop to sell biscuit and savoirs. That means some of the people they make a shop and they sell biscuit and other survive things. Carpenter making and selling furniture. We know that carpenters they make furniture and they sell it. Factory manufacturing and selling papers. We know that in many of the factories they manufacture paper and they sell it. Gathering honey from the forest and selling it. The local people, the tribal people, the people those are dwelling in the forest, they collect honey and they from the forest and they sell it. Spinning thread from silk to weave saris and selling them. That means some people they spin the thread from the silk and they weave sari and they sell in the market. Next, cutting and selling fish. That means culturing and selling fish. That means fishermen they do agriculture or they do culturing of fish and they sell in the market. A company mining bauxite selling it to another company. That means in a company they manufacture bauxite, thereafter they sold into other company. So these are the what some of the economic activities which take place in our day-to-day life in our surrounding. It doesn't mean that only these many economic activities are taking place. There are many more economic activities that you can find out by yourself. So these are the various kinds of economic activities we experience in our day-to-day life. The list shows that people do different kinds of economic activities to fulfill their needs. So above list give information to us that people do different kinds of economic activities to fulfill their needs, to survive or to live. So all activities to produce goods and service which are exchanged for money to fulfill our various needs are the major part of economic activities. That means either we are producing goods or doing service and those things are exchanged for money to fulfill our various needs are the major part of economic activities. Listen carefully. Activities to produce goods and service which are exchanged for money to fulfill our various needs are called what? These are the major part of economic activities. That means producing goods and providing service in exchange of money to fulfill our various needs are the major part of economic activities. So next topic is that sectors of the economic. there are various sectors of economic. So let's talk one by one. The different kinds of economic activities occur some sector or the other. We know that there are different kinds of economic activities occur either some sector or other sector. They can be classified into specific sector on the basis of their production. That means these economic activities can be classified into specific sectors based on their production. These sectors are agricultural sector, the industrial sector and the service sector. So what are the various types of economic sector, or we can say different types of economic sectors? Those are agriculture sector, listen carefully, agricultural sector, next the industrial sector and the service sector. So these three are the major economic sectors. What are that? Agricultural sectors, the industrial sectors and the service sectors. Such sectors wise classification makes it easy to calculate the share of each sector in total production of the Indian economy. That means when you are classifying this economic section, okay, according to their section wise or classification wise, it makes us easy to calculate share of each economic sector in total production of the Indian economy. So the first sector is agriculture and allied sector. The process of production in the sector depends primarily on nature. It uses natural process and resources. Various crops such as rice, wheat, corn, millet, maize, cotton, etc. are produced. Forestry is an allied sector to agriculture. Forest produce includes flowers, herbs, fruits, glue, honey, etc. Other allied sectors are animal husbandry, fishery, etc. So in this paragraph we will talk about the first, as we have learned that there are three major economic activity sectors. Those are the agricultural sector, the industrial sector and the service sector. So first of all, in this paragraph we will talk about agriculture and allied sectors. So what is agriculture and allied sectors? It says that the process of production in this sector depends primarily on nature. That means in the agriculture sector, the process of production it primarily or mainly depend upon what? On the nature. Next, it also says that it uses natural process and resources. That means for the production in the agriculture and allied sector, the process what is natural process and resources. Through the natural process and resource only the production take place. Various crops such as rice, wheat, corn, millet, maize, cotton, etc. produce. In this sector, various crops, what are that? Like rice, wheat, corn, millet, maize, cotton, all these things are produced in the agricultural sector. Next, forestry is an allied sector to agriculture. What is that? Forestry is an allied sector to agriculture. That means whatever the things are produced from the forest, those things are called what? Allied sector. Listen carefully. All those things which are produced and collect from the forest, those things are called what? Allied sector. Forest produce includes like a flowers, herbs, fruits, glue, honey. All these things are what? Part of forest produce, or you can say part of allied sector. But there are also what? Some other allied sectors are that those are animal husbandry and fishery. That means taming these domestic animals and cultivating fish. These are also what? Part of the allied sectors. That means what is agriculture and allied sectors? That means the process of production is what? Depends on the primarily nature. That means cultivating food like rice, wheat, corn, millet, maize, cotton, etc. In same time we collect the things from the forest. Those are called what? allied sectors like flowers, herbs, leaves, fruits, glue, honey, etc. And some other allied sectors are like animal husbandry, fishery and other activities. The second sector is industrial sector. In this sector, goods are manufactured by using machine, tools and human labor. For example, using bamboo to manufacture basket, sugarcane to manufacture jaggery, leather to manufacture shoes, limestone to manufacture cement, etc. So, the second sector is the industrial sector. So, in these sectors, goods are manufactured by using of what? Machines, tools and human labors. Listen carefully, in the industrial sector, things or goods are manufactured by using of what? Machines, tools and human labor. Let's look some of the example. So, using bamboo to manufacture what? Basket. We know that for making basket we use what? Bamboo. Next, sugar cane to manufacture jaggery. For manufacturing jaggery, what we use? Sugar cane. What is jaggery? The other name of what jaggery is called what? Molasses. That means in Hindi it is said good. Next, leather to manufacture shoes. That means to manufacturing shoes we use what? Leather. Next, we use limestone to manufacture cement. So these are the things used manufacturing goods in the industrial sector. Next paragraph. Industries are classified into, that means industries can be classified into different parts. That means cottage industry, or we can say what? Micro industry. Next, small scale industry. Next is what? Small scale industry. And other is what? Medium or large scale industry. That means industry can be classified into three categories. The first one is cottage industry, or we can say what? Micro industry. Second is what? Small scale industry, and the third one is what? Medium or large scale industry. So what is cottage industry? Cottage in the sense is that the things which is manufactured and produced at home, those are called what? Cottage industry. And what is small scale industry? That means a small size like rice mill, like puffed rice, etc. These are called what? Small scale industry. Next, large industry. That means the things which manufacture in large quantity. So we will discuss all these things what? Slowly, one by one. Goods produced on a very small in the household, mostly by family members, are classified as cottage industry. So, what is cottage industry? That means good produced on very small scale in the household. As you know, just before I have told you that the things which is manufactured at the home by the help of family members. So, those are called what? Cottage industry. Understood? The things which is manufactured at home through the help of family member, so those are called cottage industry. Next is small scale industry. Next is small scale industry. Small scale industry requires more capital and labors compared to cottage industry. That means in compared to cottage industry, in the small scale industry, what we need? We need labor, we need more labor and capital. What is capital? Capital in the sense what? Money. So in small scale industry we need more capital and more labor in compared to cottage industry. Production is done using small or medium sized machine. That means in the small scale industry, production is done what? By using small or medium sized machines. They use small or medium sized machine for doing for production. Examples including like a rice mill, printing press, brick kiln and small components factory. All this they are called what? Small scale industry. Got it? Which are like a rice mill, printing press, brick kiln and small component factory. They are classified as what? Small scale industry. So in this paragraph we will learn that what is small scale industry. In the small scale industry we want more capital or more money and more labor in compared to cottage industry, and in the small scale industry small and medium sized of machines are used for production. Some of the example of the small scale industry are rice mill, printing press, brick kiln, or you can say small component factory. So these are called what? Small scale industry. Next is large scale industry. Large scale industry requires much higher capital and resource than small scale industry. Goods are manufactured in large factories with a large labor forces. So what is large scale industry? That means large scale industry requires much higher capital and resource than small scale industry. That means in compared to small scale industry, in large scale industry we want what? More money or more capital. In same time we want to acquire more human labor and resources. Goods are manufactured in large factories with the large labor forces. In large scale industry, goods are manufactured in a large labor force. Some of the example like a cement and steel factories are example of large scale industry. Cement and steel are the example of large scale industry. The third or the last sector is service sector. This sector covers special service provided by professionals. So in this sector what happened? This sector covers special service provided by the professional. Example including medical treatment, nursing, legal practice, teaching, etc. So these are the part of service sector. What are that? Like a medical treatment by doctor, nursing, or you can say legal practice by like an advocate, or you can say teaching, and all these things are what? Part of service sector. Also included are services that support that production process, such as transporting goods to distant markets by tractors or trucks, banking service, communication service, etc. That means there are some other service sector, they also what? Provide service or support for the production process. They provide service for the successful production process. Example, transporting goods to distant market. That means after the production they take goods from distant market. It is through by tractor or trucks. Next, bank service, or we can say communication service. So these are also the part of service sector. Next, all government service fall within this category. That means all the government service and work is part of the service sector. So what is service sector? This sector covers special service provided by the professional. Example like a treatment of doctor, nurse, legal practice, teaching, etc. There are also some other service sector, those who support for the final production. Example, transporting goods from a distant place by truck or by tractor, bank service or communication service. Even all the government activities and government work also part of the service sector. Next topic is calculating the production of goods and service, how and why. People engage in different kinds of economic activities to produce a large variety of goods and services. If you want to know the total production of any country, we have to add all the goods and services produced in that country. So in this paragraph it is said that people engage in different kinds of economic activities to produce a large variety of goods and services. We know that to produce a large variety of goods and service, people engaged in different kinds of activities. People engaged in different kinds of activities to produce large variety of goods and service. If we want to know the total production of any country, listen carefully. If we want to know the total production of any country or our country, we have to add all the goods and service produced in that country. That means to know the total production of our country, we have to add all the goods and service produced in that country in a particular year. But adding all these goods and service is difficult and complicated task. We could make a list of all the goods, but it will still be difficult to calculate their total quantity because we use different units to measure different goods and service. So in this paragraph it says that but adding all the goods and service is a difficult and complicated task. That means all the goods which produce in a country or all the service which are take place in the country, if you are calculating together or adding together, it is a difficult and complicated task. We could make a list of all goods, but it will still be difficult to calculate the total quantity. That means if you make all the list of the goods which manufacture and produce in our country and all the service which are take place, even then it is difficult to calculate the total quantity because we use different units to measure different goods and service. We use what? Different units to measure different goods and service. For example, if you are purchasing rice or potato, tomato, etc., we are measuring with the what? Kilogram. But when we are purchasing oil, then and liquid things, we are purchasing with what? Liters. So that's why it is difficult to calculate all the total quantity because we use different measure for the goods and service we are provided and which is manufactured within the country. To solve this problem, money is used as the unit of measurement. We find the money value of all the goods and service. If 500 kilogram of sugar is sold at Rs 30 per kg or kilogram, the total value of sugar is 15,000. Similarly, the value of 100 liters of milk Rs 30 per liter is how much? Rs 3000 rupees. If a doctor charges 500 for an eye operation, 5000 for an eye operation, the value of 10 operation will be Rs 50,000. Listen carefully. To solve this problem, money is used as the unit of measurement. We know that from the above paragraph we talked that means to know the total economic or the value of the economic which is produced in the country, it is a very difficult task. Why? Because there are different kinds of things are manufactured or produced and they were measured in different units. Some are in kilogram, some are in liter and some are in different charts. So it is very difficult to count the total income or the total economic activities of the country. So in this paragraph it says that to solve this problem, money is used as the unit of measurement. For all this complicated problem or to solve this problem, what is the solution? Money is used as the unit of measurement. How? We find the money value of all the goods and service. What we do? We find the money value of all the goods and service. Listen carefully, look at the example. If 500 kilogram of sugar is sold of Rs 30, 500 kilogram of sugar is sold Rs 30 per kg. That means 1 kilo sugar is, if it is 30 rupees, then the total value sugar is how much? It is 15,000. Seems like that if the value of 100 liters of milk, example, each liter per liter is 30 rupees. So what will be the cost of 100 liters? It will be obviously 3000. Seems like that if a doctor takes charges of 5000 for an eye operation and if he do the 10 operation, then how much the charge will taken? It will be 50,000. Understood? So these are some of the example. That means 1 kilo sugar is 30 rupees. If it is it is 500 kilo, the cost will be 15,000. Similarly, if a per liter of milk is 30 rupees, then 100 liters of milk will be 3000 rupees. And if a doctor takes charge of 5,000 rupees for eye operation, the 10 operation will be cost of 50,000. In this example, we added the value of 3 goods and service to calculate total production. Listen carefully. In the above example, we added the value of 3 goods. What are that? Sugar, milk and eye operation. Okay. In this example, we added the value of 3 goods and service to calculate the total production. But how do you add the value of all goods and service to calculate the total production of a country? But the question is that, okay, how do you add the value of all the goods and service to calculate the total production of a country? It is only 3 goods we calculated, but if we talk about the total production of a country, how we would calculate our value? In some cases, the goods are used to produce the other goods, because we know that some cases goods are used to produce other goods. So, it is not necessary to calculate the value of all the goods and service that are produced and sold. So, it is not important to calculate all the value of the goods and service that are produced and sold. Example, for making a chair, first of all we are purchasing a wood or plank, then we are making chair, then again the chair is sold. So we are not calculating the price of the plank or wood, and we are not calculating adding the price of the chair. Understood? So it is not necessary to calculate all the value of goods and service that are produced and sold. We need to calculate the value of only the final goods and service that we use or consume. So how we have to calculate? We have to calculate the final goods and service that we use and consume. The following example illustrate how this is done. So you may not understand by this paragraph, but by the following paragraphs or example, you can understand actually how the final production's value are calculated. A farmer sells 100 kg of paddy to rice mill at the rate of 10 rupees per kg. The total selling price of the paddy is Rs 100,000 rupees. The farmer uses his own seeds to grow the paddy. The rice mill produces 60 kg of rice from the 100 kg of paddy. It sells this rice to a shopkeeper at the rate of Rs 20 per kg. So the total value of the rice is 1200. The shopkeeper produces 55 kg of puffed rice murmura and sell it at Rs 50 per kg to his customer. Listen carefully. A farmer sells how much? 100 kg of paddy to a rice mill. Rs how much? 10 kg. So if 1 per kg or 1 kg is 10 rupees, then how much it will cost for the 100 kg? It cost how much? Rs 1000. Farmer uses his own seeds to grow the paddy. That means farmer, okay, early he had the seeds and he used the own seeds for growing the paddy. Next, the rice mill produced 60 kg of rice. That means out of the 100 kg of paddy, rice mill produced how much? 60 kg of rice. It sell this rice to a shopkeeper at the rate of 20 per kg. After producing rice out of 100 kg of paddy, he produced how much? 60 kg of rice. And that rice, this rice mill owner, he sold to a shopkeeper. Per kg how much? 20 rupees. If he sold per kg 20 rupees, next, so how much he had produced out of 100 kg of paddy? He has produced 60 kg of rice. So if per 1 kilo is 20 rupees, so what will be the cost of 60 kilo? It is obviously how much? 1200. Next, the shopkeeper produced 55 kg of puffed rice, or we say in Hindi murmura. That means the shopkeeper, those who produce the 60 kilo of rice, he produced how much? 50 kg puffed rice or murmura. Then he sold per kg how much? 50 rupees. In this example, the paddy is converted to puffed rice, which is the final product that reaches the end customer. So listen carefully. In this example, the paddy is converted to puffed rice. Paddy is converted into puffed rice. And which is the final product? Which one? The final product is puffed rice. Puffed rice is the final production. Paddy and rice are there for the intermediate goods for the shopkeeper. Paddy and rice. These two are called what? Intermediate goods. That means what are the intermediate goods? The intermediate goods in the sense for making something we use different kinds of things. So the uses of different kinds of things is called what? Intermediate goods. We know that for here we made puffed rice. For making puffed rice, what are the goods are used? Paddy and rice. By using the paddy and rice only what? We got puffed rice. That's why here the intermediate goods are what? Paddy and rice. Seems like that while we are making some other things. Example, so while you are making a biryani, so we are making using different kinds of things. What you are using? We are using rice. We are using like many kinds of sweets, many kinds of spices. We are using oil. So all these things. So and we are making the biryani. So biryani is the final product. Biryani is the final product. But what are the intermediate goods? Intermediate goods are rice, oil, spices, sweets, and other dishes. Those are called what? Intermediate goods. Next paragraph. The value of intermediate goods is included in the value of final product. The value of intermediate goods is included in the value of final product. The value of the puffed rice, the final product is how much? 2715. That means the cost of puffed rice, because out of the 60 kilo of rice he made 55 kilo of puffed rice and he sold per kg 50 rupees. So what is the total cost? Total cost is what? 2750. This is the what? Value of the puffed or final product. Listen carefully now. The value of intermediate goods is 1000 for paddy and 1200 for rice. So what are the intermediate goods? Rice, paddy and rice. So the value of paddy is 1000 rupees and the value of rice how much? 1200. These values are already included in the price of the final product. Listen carefully. This value, which values? This 1000 rupees and 1000 rupees are what? Already included in the final product. So it is it is not correct to add the value of paddy and rice to puffed rice. That means if you are adding the price of the paddy and rice to the puffed rice, then that is not correct. Adding the value of the same thing is in different forms would be doubling counting. That means if you are adding the value of same thing in different forms, what will happen? It will be doubling the counting. Calculating total production by the value added method. We can calculate the total value of production in the above example in another way. In above example, we have talked about that how to calculate. That means the price of paddy was 1000 rupees, the price of rice was 1200 rupees, and the price of pop rate was 2750. And if you are counting the price of paddy and rice, then it will increase the price of, or the price will be doubling. Only we have to calculate the final product, that is pop rate value, that is only 2750. But let us calculate in some other way or in different way. To understand this method, write this example in the form of the table given below. Listen carefully. The same thing what we discussed in the above paragraph, that only we are going to calculate in different way. Look at this table given below. Say goods. What are the goods we saw in the above paragraph? We saw that paddy, rice and puffed rice. Next, total value in RS. So what was the price of this paddy? It was 1000. Next, value of intermediate goods purchase. That means for producing the paddy, did the farmer use any other goods? No. That's why it is only what? 0. Next, value added at each stage. That means in what price he sold? He sold in 1000 rupees. Next, rice. So what was the total value of rice? 1200. 1200 total value. Next, value of intermediate goods purchase, how much? 1000, because he purchased the rice of 1000 rupees, then he sold in how much? 1200. So value added at each stage. That means he sold by 1000 rupees. Sorry, he purchased in 1000 rupees and sold by 1200. So let's do 1200 minus 1000 equal to how much? 200. So in this stage, okay, how much price is added? 200 rupees is added in compared to the other or the paddy. Next, puffed rice. Total value how much? 2750. Next, value of intermediate goods purchase how much? 1200. How it is 1200? The price of paddy is 1000 rupees. Next, the rice owner, okay, rice mill owner, he added, okay, 200 rupees extra. That's right, 1200. So next, value added at each stage, how much? 2750 minus 1200 equal to how much? 1550. So this much is added in this stage. So now let us talk about the total value of production. Total value of production. Listen carefully. 1000 rupees of paddy. Next, again, rice mill owner, he added how much rupees? 200 rupees. Next, the pop rice owner, he added, okay, how much? 1550. So what is the total cost now? 2750. This 2750 is the total value of the pop rice. That means including paddy, including rice and all the process, the total value of the final product is 2750. In this table, the value is added at each stage. So above table, what we saw, that value is added to each stage. In the first stage, the value added to paddy how much? Rs 1000. Since the farmer owns the seeds, doesn't have to buy them. That means farmer was already having the paddy, so he didn't buy the paddy. Next, in the second stage, the rice mill paid how much? 1000 rupees to paddy and sold the rice for 1200. In second stage, what we saw? The rice mill owner, he purchased the paddy of 1000 rupees, then he sold how much? In 1200. In this stage, the value added is how much? Rs 200 was added because he purchased of 1000 rupees paddy, then after converting into rice, he sold of 1200. That means how much he added the value? 200. Next, in the third stage, the shopkeeper brought the rice for Rs 1200 rupees and sold the pop rice how much? 2750. The value added being is how much? Rs 1550. In this way, some value is added to the things at every stage production. That means in this way, in every stage of production, the value are added. This is called what? Value addition. Listen carefully. That means in every stage, values are added, and this process is called what? Value addition. This method avoids doubling counting to calculate the value of total production. Through this method, what happens? It avoids doubling counting to calculate the value of total production. Next topic is gross domestic product, GDP. The total production of a country in a financial year is the total value of all the final goods and services produced in all sectors of the country. All this production must occur within the geographical boundaries of the country. The total value of the production is in a financial year is called the gross domestic product of or GDP. Domestic means the production takes place within the country. The total production of a country in a financial year is the total value of all final goods and services produced in all sectors of the economy. Listen carefully. The total production of a country in a financial year. Total production of a country in a financial year is the total value of all final goods and services produced all economic sectors. All this production must occur within the geographical boundaries of the country. That means all this production it must occur within the geographical boundary of the country or within the country. So that means what is the total production and financial of the country? That means all the goods and service which produce within the country throughout the year. That is called what? The total produce of an country. The total value of this production is financial is called the gross domestic product or GDP. What is GDP? The total value of this production of a financial year is called gross domestic product or GDP. The short form of gross domestic product is called what? GDP. That means all the total value of the production in a financial year. Example, if we talk about year 2019, whatever the things are produced in 2019, that is called what? The value of all these things is called what? GDP or gross domestic product. Domestic means the production take place within the country. What is domestic? The production take place within the country. That means in a particular country. So what is GDP? That means total production of a country in a year. The total cost or total price of the production, either things produced or service, whatever may be, all the production together when it is counted. So total or the final value of the country is called what? GDP, gross domestic product. What is domestic? That means within the country. Example, look, our country is India. Within the country, the total value or the total cost of the income in a year is called what? GDP or gross domestic product. Next paragraph. The central government Ministry of Statistics calculate the annual GDP. So who calculate the annual GDP or gross domestic product? Central government Ministry of Statistics. They calculate the annual GDP. The ministry seeks the support and different central and state government department to calculate the total quantity of final goods and service product. The ministry, which ministry? The central government Ministry of Statistics. They take the help of whom? By the central and state government department to calculate the total quantity of final goods and service produced. This central government ministries of statistics, they take the help of central and state government department to calculate the total quantity of final goods and service produced in our country or in a country. It determines the market values of this production to estimate the country's GDP. That means this helps to what? Market value of the production to estimate the country's GDP. Gross domestic product of Chhattisgarh in RS crores. Listen carefully. Field, agriculture and allied sector, industrial sector, service sector. These are the what? Three major sectors of income. So let's talk about year 2004-5. From agriculture and allied sector, what was the total? Okay, how much the total income? 10,519 crore. That means 22%. Next, in industrial sector, how much? 21,221 crores. That means 44%. Next, from service sector, how much? 60,482 crores. That means 34%. So, what was the total production of Chhattisgarh in 2004-5? That was 47,862 crores. This was the GDP of Chhattisgarh in the year of 2004 and 5. That you see that, okay, all the final products were included, and it is calculated how much? 47,862 crores. So this was the GDP of Chhattisgarh in the year of 2004 and 5. Seems like that it is, you see that 2014 and 15. From the agriculture and allied sector, how much it is? 18,727 crores. Next, from industrial sector, 42,282, and from service sector, 39,833. And what is the total GDP? 1 lakh 842 crores rupees. So this total production of a year is called what? GDP, or gross domestic product. Next, understanding the concept of unpaid work and its importance. So let's talk about concept of unpaid work and its importance. What is unpaid work? That means there are many works for which we don't pay money. We do many kinds of activities, but for that money is not paid. Let's talk and discuss. We learned that value of only the final product is taken to calculate the GDP. That means after the final product only we calculate to GDP. This means we calculate the GDP on the basis of the price at which goods and services are bought or sold in market. So how we calculate GDP? That means based on the price, the goods and service. That means a things, okay, how much it cost in market, and okay, service how much we paid. So that price, okay, list, okay, we calculate and we found out the GDP. But we do many different kinds of activities in our daily lives for which we don't receive any payment. In our home, in our daily life, because we do many kinds of work, and for that we don't get any money. These activities which are not bought or sold, for which no money is paid, are very important in our life. There are several duties and things are done, and for that we don't get money or we don't pay money, but they are very important in our life. Such activities are not taken into account where calculating the GDP because they are unpaid activities. That means while we are counting the total income of the country in a particular year, but these kinds of activities we are not including into GDP. Why? Because for these activities and for this work we don't pay money and we don't get money. As a result, the GDP estimate is always less than what we actually should be. So because of this reason, what happened? We don't get the actual GDP, because according to our work the GDP is less. Why? Because there are many activities, and that for that we don't pay money and we don't get money. So if you include, if we pay money for those work and we receive money for those work, and if you are including that into GDP, our GDP would be will be increasing. But what happened? According to our work and deed, the GDP is less. Why? There are several activities and work, we don't get money and we don't pay money. If these important but if these important but unpaid economic activities are taken into account, the GDP value would be much higher. That means if it is important and all these unpaid work activities or the work which we are doing without payment, if that we are including into GDP, that means gross domestic production or the final value of the country, and then the value will be much higher and will be increasing more. These activities have a special importance if they find no place in any sector of the economy. That means these activities, which activities? These unpaid work activities or the work which is not paid. So those are very important, but they are not finding any place in the economic sector. They play a vital role in our family and in our society. That means these activities play what? A very important role in our family, in our society. Women perform most of these activities, but they are not paid for doing such work. Almost like a woman and our mothers, they do many kinds of activities in our society, in our family, but they don't get any money for that one, which include like cooking food for the family, looking after children, sweeping the room, washing our cloth, making us to go to school, etc. So all this work are done by the women and our mother, but they don't get any money for that one. Do your mother get money for all these things, for cooking food, for making you bath, for washing your cloth, for sweeping your house? No, they don't get any money, or we don't pay any money to them. Not only about the women, let's talk about our grandparents. They take care of us. Sometimes they drop us at school, again they pick up from the school, and for all these things also they don't get money and we don't pay money for them. There is a way to assess such unpaid activities. They can be assessed on the basis of the time spent in performing them. Listen carefully. Some women are engaged in economic activities along with their household chores. That means there are some women, they do the household work in same time they also engage in some economic activities. She does economic activities for which she is paid. Okay, the woman, okay, which she does economic activities, for that she is paid. In addition, her normal household work for which she receive no money. In same time what happens? She do the household work and for that she receive no money. Whatever work she does at home, we don't pay money or she doesn't receive money. Women do many other kinds of work that are like cleaning and storing grain, beautifying their home, entertaining guests, taking care of aged and allying members of the animals, helping children with their homework, etc. So these are some of the work which is done by the women. What are the work? Like cleaning and storing grain. Next, beautifying their home, that means cleaning the house, entertaining guests. Whenever guest came, okay, our mother only she attend. Next, she take care of the aged. That means the first our mom and the woman she take care of the old people or our grandparents, aligning members of the family, and daily grocery shopping. Even she goes for what? Marketing and shopping. Next, looking after domestic animals. She also what? Looks after the domestic animals like mulching, etc. She feed the cows and other things. Next, helping children with their homeworks. Even our mom, she help us to do our homework. So these are the activities which are done by the women and other people, but they are not paid for that or we don't pay money for this. Next, the daily routine of the people can be divided into three kinds. That means there are daily routine and those routine can be divided into three kinds. First one is what? Paid work. All activities for which a payment is made. That means for doing any work, we pay the money. Such kinds of work is called what? Paid work. Next is unpaid work. all activities for which no payment is made. Just we talk about mother and the woman, they do many kinds of activities then, but they don't pay or they don't get salary or we don't pay money for them. Next, non-work activity, that means non-work like leisure time activities like watching TV, chatting, resting, all these things. So our daily routines are divided into three categories, that is paid work, that means whatever work we do for that we get money, and next is unpaid work, that means we do many kinds of activities, especially our women and mom, they don't get money. And next is what non-work activity, that means the work we don't do, simply spend our time like free time activities like watching TV, chatting, resting, playing, etc. Hope all of you understood.